Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're digging into a massive corporate failure that literally grounded India's largest airline. It's a fascinating story about a giant that had almost 2 full years to prepare for a coming storm, but instead chose to fly right into it. So, picture this. It's December 2025. IndiGo, the airline that dominates the Indian skies with a staggering 65% market share, just stops. A complete operational meltdown. In only 5 days, they had to cancel over 2,100 flights. Thousands of passengers were stranded, and chaos just erupted at airports all over the country. But here's the kicker. This wasn't some surprise blizzard or a sudden technical glitch. The airline had a full 22 months notice. 22 months to prepare for the regulatory change that caused all of this. So you have to ask, with all that time, how did it go so spectacularly wrong? Okay, let's get into the anatomy of this thing. The reason for the chaos wasn't a lack of planes, and it wasn't bad weather. It all came down to a complete breakdown in crew scheduling. Flights were literally stuck on the tarmac, fully boarded, because there were simply no pilots available who were legally rested enough to fly them. So what was the trigger? Well, it was a new set of safety rules from India's Aviation Authority, the FDTL rules. And they were really important for pilot well-being. They increased the mandatory weekly rest time from 36 hours to 48. Now, that sounds like a simple change, right? But for the people scheduling the crews, it made an already complex job exponentially harder. So with nearly 2 years to get ready, how was a failure of this magnitude even possible? Well, the reasons go deep. They go right into the airline's culture, its technology, and some really questionable strategic decisions. This timeline just lays it all out, doesn't it? Instead of using those 22 months to get its house in order, the airline went on this wild expansion spree, adding 15,000 weekly flights. As one analyst put it, it was like knowing a hurricane is coming and deciding to buy more patio furniture instead of boarding up the windows. And you really have to understand just how complex this stuff is. I mean, scheduling for a major airline is just a mind-boggling puzzle. You're juggling pilot certifications, different types of aircraft, those super strict rest requirements, time zones, training schedules. You change one tiny piece, and it sends a massive ripple effect across the entire network. And this, right here, was the fundamental mismatch. IndiGo was basically trying to solve a 21st century problem with 20th century tools. Their planning team, armed with spreadsheets and doing manual calculations, were trying to figure out all the cascading effects of these new rules. I mean, they were just completely, and maybe predictably, overwhelmed. It wasn't just about the software. This was a cultural failure. It was rooted in that dangerous mindset of, well, we've always done it this way, and it's always worked out before. And that thinking led directly to a critical underinvestment in the tech they desperately needed to manage their own complexity. Okay, so we've spent a lot of time on the problem. Let's talk about the solution. Because the good news is, powerful tools don't just exist to solve this. They're already being used by other major airlines to prevent this exact kind of disaster. Modern AI-powered systems offer this incredible 5-layered solution. They can predict the future by analyzing data, they can optimize millions of crew pairings in seconds, and they can even use something called a digital twin. Think of it as a virtual copy of the entire airline, to simulate new schedules and find the breaking points before they happen in the real world. Just think about this for a second. A system that's basically a crystal ball for your operations. It looks at all the data, all the schedules, and can forecast a crew shortage months in advance. A system like this could have turned IndiGo's December crisis into a simple staffing memo back in August. Total game changer. And just look at the power of this tech when disruptions do happen. Instead of planners making frantic phone calls, these systems can generate an entire network recovery plan in about 90 seconds. The result? A recovery that's up to 70% faster, with way fewer cancellations. And let's be super clear, this isn't just theory. This isn't science fiction. Airlines like KLM have already put these systems in place, and they've seen dramatic results. We're talking a 20 to 30% reduction in costs from all those disruptions. The technology is proven, and it absolutely works. So what's the big picture here? What's the real takeaway? Well, this whole incident isn't just about one airline having a bad month. It's a huge, flashing warning light for any big, complex, legacy industry that relies on intricate scheduling and human decision-making. This whole thing really requires a fundamental shift in mindset. You have to stop thinking of technology as an expense. It's not. It's insurance. The cost of just one operational meltdown in fines, passenger compensation, and that irreversible damage to your reputation, it absolutely dwarfs the investment in a system that would have prevented the whole thing. So the core lessons from IndiGo's crisis are crystal clear. First, modern operational complexity has simply outgrown our ability to manage it manually. Second, AI isn't a nice-to-have anymore, it's essential. And finally, a culture of proactive, data-driven planning has to replace that old model of reactive firefighting. And it's so important to get this point. This isn't about replacing jobs with robots. It's about evolving them. AI does the heavy-duty number crunching, and that frees up human planners to make the big strategic decisions and manage the exceptions. It's about upskilling your people to manage these incredibly powerful new tools. So we'll just leave you with this one final thought. The IndiGo crisis really is a powerful, real-world warning. In today's hyper-connected and complex world, failing to adapt, failing to embrace new tools, well, that isn't just a bad business decision. It might just be the most dangerous course of action there is.